Okay, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Shannon McDonald. I'm the Associate Director at UC San Diego Extension for the Corporate Education and Custom Training Department. We're so happy to see you today, and I hope you all are staying well and managing this crazy environment we're in lately. And again, thank you so much for coming. We are here. This is the Creating Impactful Presentations in a Remote World. I'm happy to introduce Lisa Gordon today. She's the founder and CEO of Lisa Inspires. Before she gets going though, I have a few housekeeping items to go over. Just wanted to let you know what the agenda looks like today. We are going to be recording this session, so we have disabled the video and audio, and if you could disable your video and audio and not turn it on throughout the session, we'd appreciate that, just to keep anonymity. I'll be going over a little bit about UC San Diego Extension, specifically our Corporate Education and Custom Training Department, which is hosting this webinar series. Then I'll go ahead and introduce the presentation, and we are going to save the Q&A till the end today. We are going to be using the chat feature, which is going to be in your navigation bar at the bottom or top of your screen. Just go ahead and open that chat feature and type in any questions or comments that you may have throughout the session, and we will save those till the end. Okay, so a little bit about Extension. So we're part of the Corporate Education and Custom Training Department. But before I get into what that means, I want to talk to you a little bit about Extension. UC San Diego Extension is the continuing education arm of the university. We offer professional development and personal enrichment programs to primarily adult professionals so that they can enhance their skill sets through various courses and certificate programs, including also webinars and workshops that we offer, so that they can continue to enhance their skills, as I mentioned, to meet today's demands of the workplace. We offer current and cutting edge skills. We provide education through practical hands-on education, and they are taught by leading professionals and experts in the field. Our instructors are practitioners in their field. They have at least 5 years of experience and a master's degree or higher. We specialize in career and personal growth, and we serve individuals, organizations, and the community. As for corporate training, we are the Corporate Education and Custom Training Department at UCSD Extension helps identify organization skills gaps and provide a plan of action. We bring various training programs, whether those are off the shelf or fully customized programs, into the workplace. We also offer executive leadership programs that companies can send their folks to on site at our location. Speaking of our leadership programs, we have a variety of them, which is what we're going to be talking about today and what this webinar series will be focusing on. We have our Leadership and Management Essentials program, which is just a series of offerings to help professionals develop the strong business acumen across various industries. So we talk about conflict resolution, presentation skills, emotional intelligence, and more. We do that through both webinars and workshops. We also offer a Leadership and Teamwork Certificate. This is a 3-course online program. It's primarily for emerging leaders. And as I said, it's online, and we focus on core concepts like teamwork, leadership, and project management. We also have 2 executive leadership programs that have been established in our region here in San Diego for over 30 years. The Leadership and Management program, as we lovingly call LAMP, and our Executive Perspective for Scientists and Engineers program, EPSI. This is a 5-month and 9-month program respectively, providing leadership and management training to both mid-level professionals and executive and senior level professionals. You can find more about these programs at extension.ucsd.edu/custom programs. In addition, we have a Leadership and Management webinar series. This is one of those webinar series. We're kicking it off today. We have 5 more in the works over the course of the next couple of months, and we'll continue to add to this lineup as over the next few weeks, and this will take us through 2020. You can find out more information by visiting extension.ucsd.edu/levelup. And with that, we'll get on with the show. So Lisa, why don't you take it away?
All right. Or in the words of Matthew McConaughey, all right, all right, all right. Let's get started, everybody. Let me get my PowerPoint loaded and ready for you. And I wanted to share a little bit about myself real quick. I am a 4th generation San Diegan, and I'm really proud of that. I wonder if any of you can beat that. I have my bachelor's degree from UCSD, so UCSD is my alma mater, and also have a master's degree in organizational leadership. I have lived and worked and played in San Diego all my life, have never had a reason to leave this beautiful city. And I have predominantly been a communications executive for the majority of my career. I've worked on behalf of a mayor, a city, a school district, a nonprofit organization, a retail establishment, a radio station, a public agency, and thousands of small businesses. So I know San Diego, I love San Diego, and as a result of all of those opportunities and experiences I've had, presentation skills, being proficient, being effective, being impactful in how you are presenting and communicating was absolutely key to my career and advancing in my career, and absolutely critical to my success. So I really am excited about offering you some tips, some tools, some strategies in this really dynamic and interesting world that we are living in today. We are living in a world that has really changed in the last 3-4 months, a very distracted world, a very remote world. And because of that, our presentations cannot be the way they were before. They have to address, they have to respond to the needs of our people, our audiences, our teams, our staffs, our employees, our customers, our clients in this new world that we're living in. So how do we design impactful presentations in this remote world, this work from home world, this zoomed out world, this burned out world, this stressed out world, right? Before we get into it, I would like to know your thoughts, your mindset right now with your presentation. So I'd like for you to participate in a poll. Grab your cell phones and text to me. You're gonna text Lisa G635 to this number 22333. On your screen, the number you're texting to is 22333, and I want you to text Lisa G635. Or you can go to the website and you can click on that and get ready for our text. This is our poll. This is optional, but I would like to see your responses. So raise your hand if you've texted already to 22333 and you've texted Lisa G635. So raise your hand if you are ready to go. All right. We shall see how this works. Again, the number 22333, you're going to text Lisa G635 in the body of that text, or you're just going to click on that link and get ready for the poll. You'll probably see a response back in your text saying you're ready to join. All right, let's see how you did. Here we go. Ooh, you already texted, you're already in there. All right, so how do you feel about your public speaking? Is it A, you'd rather watch paint dry? Some of you are B, you just need to polish up those skills, right? Some of you just, yeah, I know this is important, right? And others really love it. So let's see where you are, people. All of your speaking, all of the meetings you're doing, all of the presentations you're making, that is all public speaking, whether it was live and in person or online. All right, let's see where we're at. Predominantly, wow, it's a very interesting mix. And I'm glad to see that no one's in the A category. So you are mostly, just need to polish your act, or mid-range, polish your act. You know what's important to your personal development, 38% of you. Okay, critical to your important part of your professional development. And then some of you really like it. We're still going with this fall. All right, let's get ready for the next one. Here we go. What are you predominantly struggling with when designing or creating, however you want to put it, making those presentations? Is it A, connecting with your audience, designing presentations that impact? You just don't like the whole public speaking thing, right? Is it delivering the message, or is it all of the above? Let's find out. Ooh, very active poll. This is great. Love to see all this participation. All right, let's see where we are. The majority of you right now are at delivering the message. Okay, that appears to be predominantly the struggle, but everyone is all kind of all over the place right here. And at least 12% of you are in the all of the above category. So this is why I love providing this type of presentation, because I know that we can make a difference in the way in which you think about your presentations today and tomorrow. Let's go to the next question. Here we go. If you were going to encapsulate with one word how you feel, just one word, and don't cuss, please, no cussing. One word about making how you feel about making your presentation, what would that one word be? Okay, give me one word. Stressful, nervous, yes. Invisible, very interesting. Excited, I like that. Overwhelmed, yes. Ugh. Yikes. Responsible. Privileged. Sweaty. Tell it like it is. Creative. You're in the overthink. Oh my goodness, I'm so glad you brought that up, because I think some of you are really overthinking. There are certain elements that you need to capture, especially in today's world and environment. I could watch this all day long. I love the way this is, the movement of this and the words that you're expressing. So thank you so much for that. Look at all those words. Look at the anxiety in these words. Right now you're seeing predominantly some words with a negative connotation. And then we see a few more in kind of moderate to higher levels of positive, right? Confidence in your presenting, right? So what am I here to do today? I'm here to empower you. I'm here to change your mindset. I'm here to help you think about what it is you need to do going forward so that you're not feeling rushed and nervous and stressful and overwhelmed and anxious and stressed out, all of that, right? And the ugh of all of this. So let's go to it. What is the world that we are living in today, people? I just want to stay here and look at these words go, but we have to move on. Presentations. You have, just from this poll, you can see that you have presentation obstacles. They're all around you right now. Public speaking challenges. Why? Why do you have these public speaking challenges? Why do you have these obstacles? Well, because so much goes into speaking and presenting and online, even in the remote world. Okay, there is anxiety. You've got to, create this whole presentation. You got to think about how you're communicating this presentation. If we were live and in person, taking the stage, commanding the stage, all of that, really understanding your audience. So much goes into this. And now with us in this pandemic world and living in this remote world, you kind of have to rethink all of these things that are currently what we associated with presentations before. You have to rethink it in terms of this remote and distracted world. The remote world. Raise your hand if you have seen the movie Up. Raise your hand, first of all, if you have seen the movie Up. I'm trying to see the raised hands. Raise your hand if you've seen the animated cartoon movie called Up. If you have kids, you've probably seen this movie. In this movie, there is this dog. Okay, there we go. The hands are raising now. There is this dog, and the dog is named Doug. Okay, and he is a perfect illustration of how we're behaving right now in this pandemic world, this remote world, this work from home world, this distracted world. And just think about it. You're talking to someone, and then all of a sudden you are thinking about something else, right? So here is Doug. He was talking to the man in this, and watch.
Squirrel.
All right. Aren't we living in that kind of world right now? We are living in the squirrel world. Okay. We are distracted and
Squirrel.
we are zoomed out. We are worn out. We are stressed out. We are frustrated with the kind of some of the tools out there that we're on, the Zoom tools, the other tools that you're using for your presentations online. And also there's all kinds of things going on in the background, right? So these presentations that you're providing actually need to really focus people, right? And they need to give people a structure because of all of the distractions going on, right? We have things going on in the background. You have things going on in the background right now. Your children, your pets, your family's activities. I've had people have to get off the webinar because they had to go yell at their kids. You know, all kinds of stuff's going on. We have deliveries, right? We have deliveries, Amazon deliveries going on, right? So how do you compete with all of this? How do you create an impactful presentation? Well, you're going to have to change. You're going to have to change the way and throw out the way that you used to do presentations. One of my favorite quotes about change is this: when we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. Okay. Whoop. Hold on just a second. Okay, I was getting ready there. When we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. That is the way I want you to think about your presentations going forward. So what makes an impactful presentation? What are the ingredients? What are the elements? What does that mean to make an impactful presentation? Well, impactful presentations are presentations that lead people to do or think or feel differently. They are presentations that leave an impression, right? So what kind of impression are you leaving with your presentations? Are you motivating? Are you inspiring? Are you changing behavior? Are you challenging your people? I'm going to be referring to your people, your teams, your staffs, your audience, your clients, your customers. So all of the above, right? Are you creating impactful presentations that cause change of mindset, that cause people to act differently, okay, et cetera, et cetera? Do you have a call to action in your presentation? Did you have a call to action before your presentation? Did you ask them to do something before? What are you going to ask them to do during your presentation? What are you going to ask them to do after your presentation? Those are all elements in a nutshell of what an impactful presentation is. So to begin to create this impactful presentation, you need to be very clear about your purpose and message. What is your purpose and message? That question, the never-ending question. What is your why? Why are you even making a presentation? Why are you having that 100th Zoom meeting, okay, with your staff, right? They don't want the same old, same old. They need something different because they're distracted. And so what is your clear message that you want to deliver? What is your why and your purpose in providing this meeting, providing this presentation? Okay, so you need to be really clear about that. Clear, focused, and driven by whatever that message is. And you need to answer these questions about your presentation. Thinking about your audience. Why would they care about what this presentation is all about, right? What is your intent of this presentation? What do you want them to do as a result of this presentation? There is a radio station that you should all be tuned into going forward, and it is WIIFT or WIIFMT or WIIFA, okay, or WIIFMA. So what's in it for the team? What's in it for my team? What's in it for my audience? What's in it for my client, my customer, whatever that is, okay? Tune into that to help you get really clear about the purpose and message of your presentation. We're now going to go through the top 6 elements of impactful presentations. And I want you to get out 2 pieces of paper, just 2. 2 pieces of paper. Everybody grab 2 pieces of paper. The first piece of paper is for you to take notes. So I promise you're not going to be taking a lot of notes on this. Okay, I want this presentation to be fun for you and relax. You don't even have to take notes if you don't want to. But that second piece of paper, we are actually going to do an activity and I need for you to participate. So on that first piece of paper where you're taking notes, I would like you to create a numbered list. Okay, so 1 through 6. You're going to be keeping score, okay? You're going to be scoring yourself in 6 different areas, okay? So you're going to 1 through 6, and these are the top 6 elements of impactful presentations. Number 1 is a powerful opening. I'm going to talk to you about, what does that mean? What does a powerful opening mean? What are some ideas? And then I'm going to ask you to score yourself how you currently are. How would you rate yourself in this area after I describe it to you? Okay, so first one, powerful opening. And you probably have heard this before, but I want you to think about your openings a little bit differently, again, in this distracted world that we are living in. Do you have an opening that really captures attention, that appeals to people, that is compelling, that makes them feel something, right? Or is it a thought-provoking question that you ask them that makes them wonder, right? Is it a story that you're telling them that actually illustrates the message that you're trying to deliver, right? So what kind of powerful opening can you offer in this present day that's going to make an impact? The people have used stories, people have used polls. I just use a poll with you just to kind of see where you are with your mindset. People open with videos. People open with quotes, a survey. You could have a survey during your presentation. You could have a survey that they already completed before the presentation, and then you are showing the results of that survey as part of your opening. So how are you in this area? How would you rate yourself currently with your opening? Give yourself a score between 1 and 5, with 5 being excellent and 1 being poor. So score yourself right now. How would you rate yourself in the area of providing powerful openings in your presentations? Again, 1 is poor, 5 is excellent. So give yourself a score on your opening. Let's go to the second element of impactful presentations. Connect or connecting with your audience. Okay, so before you score yourself, I need to give you some tips and ideas here. Connecting with your audience. Do you really know your audience? Do you know it to the level that I'm getting ready to share with you? What does it really mean to know your audience? Do you understand? Do you have empathy for your team, your staff, your employees, your clients, your customers? Have you walked their walk? Have you walked in their shoes? Do you know their interests? Do you know their needs? Do you know, have you anticipated their objections to what you're presenting, the information that you're presenting, the concept, the proposal that you're presenting? What about the way in which you're communicating to your audience? Are you familiar with their communication style and the way in which they want to receive the information? And we'll talk a little bit more about communication style in just a minute. But are they people that really enjoy facts and data and research, right? Or are they very visually stimulated and they need to see charts and graphs and color and, you know, all of that? So, and because they are more feelers, right? Relators, and or maybe you want to do something that's more emotional and evoke emotion because you have a lot of relators on your team, or the type of client or customer that you're trying to work with, etc. So connecting with them means that you are developing a relationship or already have a relationship, and you're showing them that they can trust you. You're showing them that you know them, you understand them, you have what they need, right? And that is ultimately building trust with them. Okay, so let's think about your communication style, but also are you specifically communicating the benefits to them, right? What are the benefits from their perspective? If you're looking at what you're communicating, the information, the idea, the concept, all of that, right? How does it benefit them? Okay. And then moving on, how are you relating it to what's in it for them, but also knowing them from this perspective? Do you know who they are? What is the who, what, where, why, when, and how of your audience? Who are they? What do they know? What do they need to know? Where are they? Are they internal to your organization or corporation? Are they external? Are they the general public? Where are they? Are they off-site? You know, are they on location? Okay, so you're really tapping into the mindset of thy audience so you can create and design a presentation that connects with them. How would you rate yourself in the area of connecting with your audience currently? What score would you give yourself between 1 and 5? 5 being excellent, 1 being poor, right? How are you with connecting? This type of connecting is a little bit different than what we're getting ready to discuss. But before we, I'm going to talk to you about interactivity in a minute. But before we do that, I do want to remind you about those communication styles in case you were wondering about those. There are predominantly 4 communication styles. If you walk into any workplace, you're going to find group of peoples that are relators, you know, groups that are initiators, groups that are thinkers, analyzer thinkers, and then your directors, right? Any workplace, there will be people categorized, right, in this way. This is their preferred communication style. So how they like to communicate to you and how they like to receive, right? So if you have a lot of people that are initiators and expressors, then you want to be more expressive and tap into their ideas and ask them for their ideas and motivate them, all of that, right? Because they're really keyed into that, and that's the best way that they learn or are motivated. If you have a lot of your thinkers groups, right? Your analyzers, your thinkers, they are data oriented, right? They want the facts, right? And they're very methodical in their processing and in their actions, right? So is your presentation appealing to your analyzer thinker audience, okay? Or is it you need to do more so with the relators? What about, you know, making sure that you're celebrating them and giving them praise, commenting on their achievements and all of that during your presentations, right? Acknowledging them, rewarding them, etc. Okay, so that was just a little overview and reminding you about the communication styles. Now let's go on to number 3, and that is interactivity. The third element of impactful in presentations is interactivity. These are your engagement strategies. What are you asking them to do before, during, or after your presentation? This is going to help them connect with your message, okay? So, for example, let's talk about the type of activity that is going to help them understand, or it's going to reinforce your message, your idea, get them to buy into your concept, right? You could propose a what if scenario during a presentation. You could have proposed a what if scenario before the presentation. Give them something to solve or help them put themselves in a certain situation, okay, that may ultimately lead to your products or services or whatever it is you're trying to communicate, right? So this is like a projection activity. You could do a projection activity with your clients, your customers, your teams, your staff, whomever, okay? So that would help them get involved with what you're, whatever it is you're presenting, right? And then process it themselves, and then help them understand your message, your concept, idea. Doing the polls and the surveys are all great ways for interactivity and engagement strategies. Some of the tools out there and platforms for presentations and meetings already have built-in interactivity, such as the chat and the raise your hands and the polling and all of that, the whiteboard. Right now, I'm asking you to score yourself, right? So use that as something that they're doing while we are going through our presentation. Offering a competition is sometimes a great way. If you have a staff that's really competitive and innovative and offering some type of competition leading up to your presentation or meeting, or announce it during your presentation, that might get people more excited and engaged in your presentation. And then always having some kind of takeaway question at the end, so then they have to have listened, because they're going to have to present their takeaways. What did they get out of this meeting? What did they get out of this training? What did they get out of this presentation? What are they going to do differently? What resonated with them? So ask them for their takeaways. That's a great interactivity or engagement strategy. How would you rate yourself in the area of interactivity currently? Give yourself a score between 1 and 5. And let's move on to number 4. The fourth element of impactful presentations: slides that guide. Some of you are not offering slides that guide, and we are still in the death by PowerPoint mode. With some people think you're still trying to do this crazy PowerPoints with all kinds of madness going on. Your slides just need to guide. They are guiding you through your presentation, and they are guiding your audience. Okay, they don't have to have everything in this presentation. Okay, and I'm going to do something on purpose right now just to illustrate the madness of PowerPoint. You'll see my reason for doing this in a minute. So here we go. Slides that guide. We're going to talk about the do's and don'ts of PowerPoint. And here is a really good illustration on the don't, but I'm just going to give you half of it for now. The don'ts. Okay. PowerPoints that have too much text. The font is too small. Okay. There's too much animation going on, right? There's too many slides. Oh boy, 100 slides for a half-hour presentation? Help me, right? Too little design. It's a boring presentation. There's too many charts, or these charts and graphs, or the charts with the little teeny numbers on it, right? People can't read that. They don't want to, okay? You're speaking in a monotone voice, and you're reading all the slides, right? And maybe those crazy transitions, you got too much transitions going on in between the slide. Notice I only have one transition between each slide for the whole presentation. Your images are outdated. If you're using clip art from 1995, people, it's time to get some new images and graphics, okay? Also, if you are using too much in your PowerPoint, you have too much jargon. Some of you are saying jargon. If you have too much jargon in your presentation and your audience is going, what is she talking about? Or what is he talking about? Or you're using a bunch of acronyms, right? You need to watch that as well. Alexa, stop. Alexa's my timekeeper. All right. So what should you do with your PowerPoints? Okay, this is my illustration. Do you see how much text is on this slide right now? This is a PowerPoint or slide note, okay? But I'm doing this on purpose. Look at all these bullets. This is crazy. But here's your list of PowerPoint do's, okay? You want to have a visually stimulating PowerPoint, okay? Colorful, a nice theme running throughout. It doesn't have to be all different types of colors, right? A thoughtful design, your balance of photos and graphics. Make sure your quality graphics, make sure they're up to date. Make sure those bullet points, 3 to 6 bullet points per slide is a good rule of thumb. Keep it simple. Font size, be consistent with that font size. Don't have font size 24 and then everything else is 50, the rest of the slide, the rest of the presentation, right? Limit those transitions, limit that animation, and use appropriate charts. All right, little couple things on more visual parts of your presentation, and then I want you to give yourself a score. Your visuals, I just want to point out here, the most of the world is visual learner. Okay, so we are auditory learners, we are visual learners, we are kinesthetic, okay? In this remote world, distract world we're living in, you know, the visual is key. And so you make sure that you're making the right choices with those photos, those graphics, the colors, the fonts, the bullet points, and all of that, etc. Okay. How would you rate yourself in the area of slides that guide? What score would you give yourself between 1 and 5? I want to also just give you some quick little tools for you that are looking for some tools out there that can help you with your polls and surveys. I use Poll Everywhere. I think it's a great resource. Surveys, SurveyMonkey, photos, Shutterstock. I recommend Shutterstock. I recommend Canva for graphics and infographics. Video, TED Talks, YouTube, quotes. I recommend A to Z quotes online, free and easy. A to Z quotes, and also Goodreads. And mind mapping, which we're going to do in just a few minutes. Mind mapping, there are some free online mind mapping tools and software out there. MindMeister is a good resource for that. They have a free program and also a free package, and then they also have some fee. Okay, let's go on to the 5th element of impactful presentations, and that is storytelling. Now, I mentioned you could possibly have a story as your opening. Some people are good at telling stories and some people are not. Okay, so if that's not you, that's okay. But I do want to talk to the people who are thinking about story. And I want you to think about it, giving someone a presentation. You're giving a presentation. I want you to think of it as a journey that you're taking your people on. There is a customer journey. People that do sales and marketing, you are constantly taking people on a journey in your presentation, in your pursuit of them, right? And this journey that you're going on starts with they become aware of your product or service, and then they kind of decide if they're interested or not. And then they start considering and thinking about it, and then evaluating, weighing it out, and then looking at their budget and see if they can afford this. And then they make the purchase, right? And then after that, you have the opportunity to follow up with them, service them, provide another product, right? And all of that. So, oopsie, there we go. My video went crazy for a minute. Okay. You have, sometimes after that first experience, that initial experience, they will come back for more, and then they become loyal customers, and then they want to, buy from you again and again. So what I want you to think about now is, what is the journey that you are taking your team, your audience on in giving this presentation? If you were going to create a roadmap of people of this presentation, here's where your team is right now, and here's where you want them to be. Here's what the way your team thinks right now, and here's where you want them to end up thinking, right? What is that journey? Okay, so you would actually be thinking about that from this perspective. Okay, what is the journey you want to take your audience or customer on through this presentation? Okay, what is a story that I could tell them that connects to my audience? Okay, and then finally, what is the story that might evoke emotion? Okay, so this is just another way of looking at your presentation from a journey perspective, from the journey that you want to take your audience on. So how would you rate yourself in the area of storytelling, or taking your audience on a journey within your presentation? Give yourself a score between 1 and 5. And we're coming to our final element, and that is a powerful close. We had a powerful opening, you gotta have a powerful close. This is pretty straightforward, but I wanna just kind of I want you to think of this in the context of you're wrapping this whole thing up with a big old bow. Right? This presentation is coming to a conclusion that impacts, right? So this is the big finish. What are you going to say to them? Okay, what are you going to say? Are you going to offer some closing thoughts? Are they going to offer some closing thoughts? Okay, are you going to use a story? Okay, are you going to propose a challenge to them? Okay, whatever you're doing here, this is that time to speak to their interests, speak to their needs, okay? Give that call to action. Ask them to do something as a result of the meeting, the presentation, the training, whatever it is. Powerful close. How are you currently closing your Zoom meetings or your presentations? Give yourself a score, 1 to 5. And now I'd like for you to add up your score. What did you get? The total score, if you got a 5 in every category, you would have got a 30. If you got 30, you are awesome. If you got a 30, you're working it. You're doing great. And apparently you're making some impactful presentations. Okay, so here again are the top 6 elements, and I'm getting ready to give you a way to score yourself. Okay, so you gave yourself between 1 and 5 for each one of these. And now here is our scientific scoring. All right, so if you got between a 25 and 30, great job. All you need to do is polish your act. You need to just focus on a few little things and go through those top 6 elements, okay, and just see what you need to focus on specifically, okay? If you were in 19 to 24, you have a little work to do. And so what I would recommend is you focus on 3. What were the 3 that you had the lowest score in, okay? And then just work on those 3. Now, if your score was lower than that, you need to work a little bit harder, okay? You need to have some areas of improvement, okay? Don't consider them weakness, consider them area of improvement. But I would really go and work on all 6 of the elements. All right, so the last thing we're going to do here, and I have a closing quote, and then we will take questions. I want to give you a template. And this is, if you are thinking about a presentation or a meeting coming up, mind mapping it first will really help you get clear on your purpose and your message and your goal, who your audience is, the points that how you're going to open, the points you're going to make, how the interactivity, the type of activities you're going to do with your audience, okay, and then your close. So that other piece of paper that you have, the second piece of paper, I want you to draw this out, and I'm just going to give you a few minutes to work on this. What is the topic? Put that in the center of your page. And then at the top, who is your audience? Okay, and so you can write audience right now. You can just draw this out if you want, just how it looks right now. But I'm also, because you're at this training, UCSD is going to be sending you an email with this template in it. So don't be panicked if you don't get this all written out right now on your sheet of paper. Okay, so your audience, who is your audience? And then you would go to purpose, message, goal, writing. Then you would write out your purpose, your message, your goal. Okay, you get the picture. Your powerful opening, what is it? Are you going to open with story? Are you going to ask a thought-provoking question? Okay, and then what are the 3 main points? Or maybe there's more than 3 main points. Okay, so what are those? And then flesh out the detail on those 3 main points that you're going to be making. Interactivity, what are you going to ask them to do? Maybe you only have an interactivity during the presentation. You don't have to have a before, during, and after, but what is it that you want them to do during your presentation? That is your engagement strategy. And then what is your close? How are you going to close it? Are you going to do a story? Are you going to do a call to action to illustrate, to drive the message home? So I highly recommend you mind map it out first before you start designing that presentation. I'm just going to wait another minute. I have 2 last things, and then we are going to wrap it up with your questions and your takeaways. Okay, what I want to ask you right now is, how many of you have found this diagram, this template, this mind mapping helpful? Raise your hand if you find this helpful. I just want you to know that I have probably used this, I didn't even know what it was called. You know, the very beginning of my career, I was doing this mind mapping for everything, all of the writing that I did, tons of different writing assignments. I've written, you know, memos and letters and reports and contracts and proposals and business plans, communications plans, outreach plans, talking points, speeches. I've co-authored a book. I've used the mind map. And then all of the presentations, almost all the presentations I've done, I've started with a mind map. It just really organizes your thoughts so that you aren't just creating and then in the middle of it, you're going back and looking for, what was my message? Did I have, what was my, you know, key points? Did I get it? You know, did I forget it? You know, it's, instead of just jumping in and starting a presentation, this will help brainstorm, flesh out, organize your presentation. Thank you for those that found this helpful. I appreciate your response on that. I'd like to get to one last thing, and then we will go to questions. And to leave you with, I think that the top 6 elements, if you really just focus on those and then use this template, I think that's going to be very helpful for you in terms of creating and designing impactful presentations. I just want to also leave you with this final thoughts on designing and delivering impactful presentations in this remote world. And that is, if you can acknowledge the elephant in the room. What do I mean by the elephant in the room? The elephant in the room is this new norm. The elephant in the room is, some of you may be working from home way longer than you think. The new norm is some of your staff, can't come back to the workplace yet because of their challenges, right? So acknowledging this whole different kind of distracted remote world that we're living in, and in processing that, so then you can think through, how am I going to connect with my audience when all of these other things are going on, right? So acknowledge the elephant in the room, really understand it from your audience perspective. Create the type of atmosphere that you would want your audience to be in during your presentations. Do you want to create, this focused, organized, relaxing maybe? Some people are really stressed out, and that moment in time that you're presenting or having a meeting with them, a Zoom meeting, that may be their only moment of peace for their day, right? Or the only moment of motivation or inspiration for the day. So create that atmosphere that you want for your audience, and through your online, through your presentation. Consider this I want you to consider that you have an incredible opportunity when you're presenting to people online now in the virtual space we're in. You have the opportunity to impact, you have the opportunity to motivate, you have the opportunity to inspire, you have a captive audience, right? That maybe is trying to get away from all their distractions, right? And just focus on this right now. So think about that. That's a huge responsibility and a great opportunity for you. Tap into their interest, tap into their needs, know your audience, and then finally, that call to action can really make a difference. So have a presentation, design a presentation that captures attention, that calls people to act or do something differently. Last thing, your questions, your thoughts, your takeaways, anything you wanted to share as a result of this presentation. What are you thinking now? What do you need to do? What do you need to change? What is some way in which you're going to design your presentation going forward? Let us hear from you. What do you think? Shannon?
Yeah, so I've got a few questions here. So the first one is, some user groups and cultures are not very participative in presentations. How do we know the reaction of an audience if they are quiet over a remote presentation? Are they absorbing and understanding? Are they listening?
Okay, very good. So that's the thing. I would go back to, do you know thy audience? First of all, do you know them? So then you are understanding why they're quiet. You would understand why they're quiet. You would understand if they're not doing anything. If you truly know the who, what, where, why, when of thy audience, something is not connecting. And also I would ask you and challenge you to focus on your interactivity and your engagement. What are you asking them to do? That's where I would challenge you, to get them more engaged.
Another question, I frequently present with other team members. What are your tips to make sure two presenters in different locations manage WebEx and Zoom well and stay on the same page to present?
Practice beforehand. Have your own little Zoom meeting beforehand so that you are on the same page. Mind map together. Create a mind map together on your purpose, your message, your goals, your opening, key points, interactivity. That's what I would do that beforehand, so then you are totally on the same page with that presentation.
Absolutely, we did that ourselves, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
A lot of positive responses to the mind mapping. They say thank you. Mapping, somebody said mapping is also really useful to as a test to keep on topic, helps to combat my tendency to just gather material. Is it possible to get this mind map somewhere? Yes, we will be sending out this a few of these slides from the presentation along with the mind map after this session, along with a link to this recording. So stay tuned. We'll send that out in a few days. How do you acknowledge the elephant in the room?
Okay, so that again is really taking a deep dive into what is going on, not only in the context of the world, but the workplace, your staff, your team, your audience, knowing what they're going through, right? And whatever it is the space that you're in, if you're all remote workers, or some of you are in the office, some of you are in the office, some of you are out of the office, some are at home, all thinking about all of those elements of what's really going on, right, in the world, so that you can then think about your audience from that perspective and how to connect with them, because they're distracted, they're struggling, they're zoomed out, they're burned out, they're trying to manage the family, the pets, and whatever else, right? So acknowledge that, and then think, okay, how can I design a presentation that connects and cuts through, right, all of that clutter and all of that distraction? That's what I mean about acknowledging, understanding, rethinking it, so then you can address it, is what I'm trying to get to. I hope that's helpful.
So a couple more, as we know we're closing in on time here. Somebody had a closing comment saying, what would I do differently? They said, typically I approach a presentation just by sitting down and writing it slide by slide. Like I would explain it. This mapping and key elements helps give a better perspective, starting big picture, then focusing down, considering each of these points individually. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Thank you for making that comment. That really matters to me. And I love that you got it, that this mind mapping process resonated with you. And again, you can use that for so many things.
Yeah. Somebody asked, you mentioned building trust. Any tips on how to best do that via Zoom?
Okay, so I would have to know, how well do you know your audience? You know, if this is your team and your staff and your employees, you better know them. You should know them. Okay. And so what is the trust? Gosh, before the pandemic, what was the trust level before the pandemic and the situation that we're in now? Okay. What was the relationship before the pandemic? What was the trust level before? Okay. Now, in presenting to them and trying to connect with them, you have to show that you understand them, you know what they're going through. And if you can communicate in that way, and being honest and open about it, you know, and acknowledging the elephant in the room and realizing that people are distracted and zoomed out, and talking about it, it shows that you care and that you have empathy, and that you're trying your best that you can to, you know, connect with them, to engage with them, to help them, you know, see the benefits of the product or the service or the information or the idea or the concept, right? So I guess I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. And then finally, I'd really like to use that dynamic word map in my presentation. Can you share with us what it takes to set that up? I think that was the polling.
Oh, was it the polls?
Yeah, they like the word map.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, okay, that's an option available through Poll Everywhere. That's my recommendation. If you're going to do polls, I would use Poll Everywhere. They have a free package. I pay a little fee because I wanted to have more people participate in my poll. I think the first level is you can only have like 25 people in a poll. And then, so I went for the next level where I can have like 700 people. So it's how many people are going to be participating in your poll. I recommend that. And so then you set up the question and you can set it up for them to just express a word. So it's a feature through Poll Everywhere. I don't know if other platforms do that. And any more questions?
I think that's it. A lot of thank yous and appreciation. So I think that will wrap us up. I know we're a few minutes over time.
Can I want to share one last thing about our class that we have coming up.
Absolutely.
If you enjoyed this presentation and you would like to go more in depth, I have a training for you. UCSD Extension has a training for you. And this is a 3-hour training happening online on Friday, July 17th. And guess what? We had 6 elements. I have 12 elements of impactful presentations that I'm going to be sharing with you. We are going to do an online lab as well. And working with UCSD Extension, I hope we'll be able to give you the mic, and we would actually go through working in that mind map, and then I can help critique it or give you some guidelines. That's what we'll be doing during this lab. And so I highly recommend that you register for that. And Shannon's going to give you some details. I'm also giving you some other tips, tools, and resources during that training. Shannon,
Yeah, so you can go to extension.ucsd.edu/level-up, and you'll find the registration link there. The price is $150, and there are corporate team discounts. So anybody coming from a particular company, if there's a large team who'd like to join, just shoot us an email at corped@ucsd.edu. I'm actually going to share one more thing here. So I'm going to bring my slides up here. So we have a number of leadership webinar series coming up. So I just wanted to make sure people were aware of that. The next one is on June 3rd with Leading Change Insightfully. Same website that I just mentioned, extension.ucsd.edu/level-up is where you can find out how to register for those. Again, these ones are absolutely free, the webinars. And just one more thing, thank you so much, Lisa. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Extension is so thankful for you and all instructors like you who provide great insight and expertise to all who participate in our webinars, courses, etc. So thank you so much.
Absolutely, and my pleasure.
Yeah, and just a reminder, all those who are still on, we will do a follow-up email with a few slides from this presentation, including the mind map, so you can continue to work on your presentations as Lisa's guided us through. So stay tuned. And we will also be posting this on our YouTube channel, but you'll be provided that link to this webinar, recorded webinar, through that email as well. And thank you all again for coming. If there's any questions, comments, concerns, you can email me at spmcdonald@ucsd.edu, which is on your screen. And we look forward to seeing you at the next one. And thanks again, Lisa. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. And everyone stay healthy, stay safe.
Yes, thank you everybody for taking the time.